All right, let's start with what is unfolding in California, where an active shooter has been reported at a food festival. Now, according to preliminary reports that have come in, there are reports that there are some casualties. Ambulance crew is presently at site, and at least about 11 people, we're given to understand, have been injured in the shooting. The shots rang out on the last day of the Gilroy Garlic Festival. Now, there are videos that have emerged on social media that show that those who were attending the festival started running in confusion as soon as there were reports that there was an active shooter about.
Who shot at a garlic festival, bro? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
All right, so this, of course, is a developing story. We'll be getting you the details as they emerge. But for the time being, let's shift our attention to Nigeria, where at least about 65 people have been killed in an attack on a funeral in Nigeria's Borno region over the weekend. Now, this is, in fact, thrice the initial death toll that had been reported. At least about 10 others are also said to have been injured. Now, this is also one of the deadliest attacks on civilians in recent years. Although no one has claimed responsibility for the attack, immediately reports indicate that it might have been the Islamist group Boko Haram that was behind the attack. Now, the suspected Islamists targeted a funeral procession, and this, according to initial reports, had emerged that at least about 20 people have died. Now, there are reports that have come in that more than 20 people have been died, and the death toll is much higher in terms of the latest reports that are coming in. Now, the relatives were seen collecting the bodies of those who were killed for their burial. They gathered to pay the respects to the victims of the attack. And also the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the attack and has directed the military to hunt down the perpetrators. A local anti-Boko Haram militia leader has said that the attack might be in retaliation to the killing of the 11 Boko Haram fighters by the residents 2 weeks ago. Now, the Boko Haram have repeatedly attacked the Borno region. The conflict in the region has lasted for over a decade, and at least thousands of people have been killed so far in this conflict. All right, now Ariha in Syria's Idlib province has been battered by yet another strike, leaving at least about 11 people dead and several others injured. Now, Ariha is a rebel-held town in northeastern Syria, and the strikes are part of the government's continued offensive to thwart the rebels. The videos have now emerged on social media that show White Helmets, that is a civil defense group that operates in rebel-held regions, providing aid to the strike victims. The dozens of people were left trapped under collapsed buildings after what is the second strike on the town in the past week. Now, Ariha was pounded by an airstrike last Wednesday as well, leaving at least about 10 people dead. Reports suggest that the latest strike was in fact on the town's main square. The airstrikes in Syria have been on the rise. Remember, the government, in alliance with the Russian and the Iranian forces, has been stepping up the attacks on the rebel-held regions. Last Friday, the United Nations Human Rights Chief, Michelle Bachelet, had condemned what she had called as the international indifference over the strikes that are taking place in Syria. Now, the casualties from the strikes are indeed appalling, and just in the last 10 days, more than 100 people have been killed in the airstrikes, and most of these are reported to be civilians. Now, Bachelet also went on to state that the intentional attacks against civilians are war crimes, and that the people who have ordered them must be held responsible.
But, you know, in humanitarian law...